The breaking point. James returned from Boston on a Thursday evening, and Sophia knew immediately that something was wrong. His jaw was clenched, his eyes cold in a way she'd learned to recognize as dangerous. He didn't kiss her hello, he didn't ask about her day. Instead, he poured himself a scotch and stood at the floor-to-ceiling window of their penthouse, silhouetted against the city lights. "We need to talk," he said finally, his voice dangerously calm. Sophia's heart plummeted. She sat on the edge of the sofa, waiting. "I received some interesting information today," James continued, turning to face her, "from a business associate who attended an architectural summit in Soho. They mentioned seeing my fiancé presenting work alongside Ethan Blackwell. They described quite an intimate moment on a private balcony." He took a long sip of scotch, his eyes never leaving hers. "I want you to explain that to me, Sophia." She could lie. She could fabricate a story about a spontaneous industry event, a professional networking opportunity. She could diminish what had happened, make it seem insignificant. But something had shifted inside her during those hours at Ethan's offices. She'd felt herself again, her ambition, her talent, her voice. And that person didn't lie to preserve peace anymore. "I presented my work," Sophia said quietly. "The Meridian Tower project that Victor has been taking credit for. I presented it as my own design, and people listened. They valued my perspective." James's glass hit the table with a sharp crack. "What you did? Without consulting me? Without considering how this makes me look?" "How it makes you look?" Sophia repeated, hearing the absurdity in those words for perhaps the first time. "James, it's my work, my design, my career." "Your career exists because I've supported it, Sophia. I've guided you. I've shaped you into someone worthy of my circle, my status, my name. And this is how you repay that? By sneaking around with some tech billionaire who probably just wants to add you to his collection?" That's not what," James interrupted, moving toward her. His anger had a physical presence. She could feel it radiating off him like heat. "I've had you investigated. Ethan Blackwell has a reputation for collecting beautiful, talented women and discarding them when he's bored. He's a predator who preys on vulnerable women like you." "I'm not vulnerable," Sophia said, standing up to meet him. "I'm talented. I'm accomplished. I'm the person I was before you convinced me I needed you to be complete." James's face darkened. "You are nothing without me. Nothing. You think that little presentation made you special? You think one night of attention from a billionaire means you matter? I've built your entire life, Sophia. Your apartment, your wardrobe, your social status, all of it comes from me. Take that away, and you're just another struggling architect in a city full of them." His words were designed to wound, and they did. But underneath the pain, Sophia felt something else. Anger. Pure, clarifying anger at the realization that she'd let someone belittle her so thoroughly that she'd almost forgotten her own worth. "I want you to end whatever is developing with Blackwell," James commanded, his voice taking on the tone of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. "Immediately. You will not see him again, you will not respond to his messages, and you will certainly not attend any more of his little gatherings. Do you understand me?" "And if I don't?" Sophia whispered, though her heart was hammering. James smiled, and it was the most terrifying expression she'd ever seen on his face. "Then I will destroy you. I will call in favors, make sure no reputable firm in this city will touch you. I will have my lawyers tie up everything you own in litigation, your family's business, your father's company. I have enough leverage to ruin it. You'll spend the next decade in legal battles, and you'll lose everything in the process." Sophia felt the blood drain from her face. She'd known James was ruthless in his professional dealings, but she'd never imagined he would turn that ruthlessness on her family.
"I will give you 48 hours to make the right choice," James said coolly, returning to a scotch. "You can either be Mrs. James Holden, a woman of considerable power and privilege, or you can be nobody. Choose wisely." He left for his study, closing the door behind him with deliberate quietness, which was somehow worse than if he'd slammed it. Sophia sat in the darkness of the penthouse, surrounded by luxury that suddenly felt like a prison, and she made a decision that would change everything. She picked up her phone and called Ethan. He answered on the second ring, as if he'd been waiting. "I need your help," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "And I need to tell you everything."
Freed by love, bound by choice, Ethan listened without interruption as Sophia recounted years of subtle manipulation, of being slowly stripped of her agency and identity, of James's threats. When she finished, there was silence on the line. "Where are you right now?" he asked finally. "Still at the penthouse. James is in his study. He won't come out until morning. He never does when he's angry. Pack a bag. Only essentials. I'm sending a car. And Sophia, don't tell him you're leaving. Not yet." Within 30 minutes, Sophia was in the back of Ethan's sleek black car, a single suitcase containing her most precious possessions, her architectural sketches, her portfolio, the pieces of herself she'd managed to preserve. As the car pulled away from the penthouse, she felt both terrified and liberated, as if she were shedding a skin she'd been wearing for years. Ethan's penthouse in Tribeca was everything she expected, minimalist, sophisticated, and utterly impersonal. But he'd prepared a guest room for her, with thoughtful touches, fresh flowers, soft lighting, a small desk positioned by the window overlooking the city. It was a refuge, not a cage. "We need to move quickly," Ethan said, his business acumen shifting into overdrive. "James is going to retaliate. I've had legal experience with men like him. The first thing we do is get you a lawyer, the best in the city, someone James can't intimidate or buy off. I know someone, Margaret Chen. She specializes in cases exactly like this." Over the next 24 hours, Sophia's life transformed. Margaret Chen helped her document James's threats, his financial control, his emotional manipulation. She advised Sophia on her legal options, including a restraining order if necessary. More importantly, she helped Sophia understand that she had rights, that James's threats were hollow posturing designed to keep her compliant. Ethan arranged for Sophia to meet with a headhunter at a prestigious architectural firm that had been trying to recruit her for years. The firm had apparently been attempting to contact her through official channels, but James had intercepted the offers. When they learned she was finally available, they were ecstatic. A partnership position, a significant salary increase, and complete creative autonomy. It wasn't just a job. It was a recognition of her talent that existed independently of anyone else's validation. On the second day, James sent a text message. "Stop being dramatic. Come home. We can work through this like adults. I've already arranged for the engagement ring to be insured for an additional $5 million. This is ridiculous." Sophia didn't respond. Instead, she met with Margaret, who sent James a formal letter detailing her accusations of emotional abuse and financial coercion, and demanding that he cease all contact. When James tried to call, Margaret's office intercepted the calls. Then came the real test. James arrived at Ethan's building, demanding to see Sophia. Security turned him away. He appeared at her new law firm's offices, creating a scene that required the police to intervene. He attempted to access her family's business, a move that backfired spectacularly when her father, learning the full truth about James's character for the first time, not only refused to cooperate, but issued a public statement supporting his daughter's courage in leaving an abusive relationship. The media picked it up. By the end of the week,
Power Lawyer's Dark Side Exposed was trending, with multiple articles exploring James's history of controlling behavior with previous girlfriends, his financial manipulation tactics, and his threats against Sophia. His law firm launched an internal investigation. Clients began dropping him. His carefully constructed image crumbled in the face of public scrutiny. Through it all, Ethan remained steady, not as a savior, but as a partner. He attended her legal meetings, supported her through moments of doubt, but he was careful to ensure that Sophia remained the active agent in her own liberation. When she wanted to withdraw, to go back to the safety of the familiar prison, Ethan didn't allow it. Instead, he reminded her of her strength. "You presented your work to that room, and they saw genius," he said one evening, as they sat on the terrace of his penthouse, watching the city lights reflect off the Hudson River. "That wasn't me. That wasn't anyone but you. And the woman I see now, the woman who was brave enough to walk away from everything she thought she needed, she's extraordinary." "I'm terrified," Sophia admitted. "Every day I'm terrified that I made the wrong choice, that I've ruined everything." "Have you?" Ethan asked gently. Sophia thought about it. In the 3 weeks since she'd left James, she'd signed with a new firm, was already leading 2 significant projects, and was reconnecting with friends she'd neglected during her engagement. She'd started therapy to process the years of manipulation. She'd rediscovered her own voice, her own vision, her own power. "No," she said, "I haven't ruined anything. I've saved myself." Ethan reached for her hand, and this time the gesture felt different. It wasn't possessive. It was a choice on both their parts. "I want to be honest with you about something," he said. "I didn't seek you out at the gala randomly. I've admired your work for a long time, but I had no intention of getting involved in your personal life. I told myself it was wrong, that you were engaged, that I should stay away." "What changed?" "I met you," Ethan said simply. "I saw someone suffocating, and I couldn't pretend I didn't see it, not because I wanted to save you. You've saved yourself, but because I cared about you too much to ignore what was happening to you. I still care about you, Sophia, but I won't ever ask you to choose me the way James did. I want you to choose your dreams first, your vision, your life, and if I'm lucky enough to be part of that journey, then I'll be grateful every single day." Tears streamed down Sophia's face. "I don't know how to do this," she whispered. "I don't know how to be in a relationship where I'm not erasing myself." "Then we'll figure it out together," Ethan said, slowly, honestly, with complete transparency. "And if it doesn't work, we'll walk away with respect and love, not with bitterness and control." Over the following months, Sophia and Ethan did figure it out. She moved into her own apartment, a decision that surprised Ethan until she explained that she needed to know she could survive independently before she could truly be interdependent with anyone. He supported that choice completely. They built a relationship based on genuine partnership, where both of their voices mattered, where neither was required to diminish themselves for the other to shine. 6 months after leaving James, Sophia presented her revolutionary urban development project to the city council, a series of sustainable, community-focused buildings designed to revitalize underserved neighborhoods while maintaining affordability and cultural integrity. Ethan was there, sitting in the audience, but it was her moment, her vision, her success. And as she stood before that council, articulating her dreams for the city, she realized that freedom hadn't come from being saved by a billionaire. It had come from choosing herself, from recognizing her own worth, and from finding someone who valued her not despite her ambition, but because of it. Later, in the parking garage, Ethan pulled her close and kissed her, not like he owned her, but like he cherished her. "I'm proud of you," he whispered against her forehead. "I'm proud of me, too," Sophia replied. And it was true. For the first time in years, she was proud of the woman she'd become, not because of who loved her, but because of who she was. As they walked hand in hand toward the city lights, toward their futures,
Sophia understood the true meaning of being bound by power and freed by love. The power that mattered was her own, the power to choose, to create, to become. And the love that mattered was the kind that didn't diminish that power, but celebrated it. She was no longer trapped in shadows. She was standing in the light of her own brilliance, and nothing would ever dim that light again.